Yo, what's up my friends? Recently I've been playing with some lower ranked players, like around diamond rank, trying to coach them around for a bit, and I've actually noticed a few pretty big things that I didn't before about diamond players. When I was coaching the other day, I was just destroying on kickoffs without really putting in much thought as to why these lower ranked players were so slow to kickoffs. But then my teammate that I was coaching asked me how I was getting the ball so fast. So I saved the replay and then took a look at what I was doing that my opponents were not. And yeah, yikes. I never really noticed how bad some of these diamond players' kickoffs were. Now it's not a roast, but I immediately figured out what they were doing wrong. So today I'm gonna go over some kickoffs that are okay to use and some that are not. Let's get into it. First off, the slight diagonal kickoffs. The first wrong kickoff I see many players do is this right here. What they do is they turn towards the boost pad and then just turn towards the ball. The reason why you shouldn't use this kickoff is because you're not flipping at all during it and you've got a lot of ground to cover. Plenty of room to flip towards it. The reason why you should flip towards it every time you can is when you flip, you're increasing your speed without needing to use any boost. However, it's not as simple as just flipping towards the ball. The next mistake I see people make is just front flipping towards the ball. What especially makes this bad is sometimes players even boost during their flips, so at one point they're actually boosting backwards. This is incredibly inefficient because you should already be conserving your boost when you can, but boosting backwards at some point is only making it worse.
This guy's way better than me. I'm out.
However, there is a way to boost while flipping that won't slow yourself down. You can do this by flipping diagonally. I'll show you in detail. Pay attention to how I turn towards the pad at the middle to just catch the edge of it. A small detail that often goes unnoticed here is that I don't actually turn towards the ball while I'm on the ground. Instead, I flip diagonally towards it without turning on the ground at all. It's important to realize that I'm not side flipping. If you look closer, it's actually in between a front flip and a side flip. And I'm still boosting as I'm flipping. So it's actually a diagonal flip or a corner flip. After you flip, make sure you land with your nose pointing right at the ball. The most powerful way to beat your opponents on a kickoff is by flipping into it with your nose. So after flipping into it the first time, land facing directly at the ball and immediately flip again, directly into it. If you do everything right, you should be hitting the ball smack dab right in the middle, and the ball should be rolling in a straight line directly at the middle of the goal. Here's what this perfect kickoff looks like against some other kickoffs that I said were wrong. Here's another thing to take note on. This actually applies to not only kickoffs, but to getting around the field in general. When you flip towards the ball, in order to get there the fastest you can, make sure you corner flip instantly after you leave the ground. You travel faster on the ground than you do in the air, so it's important to reduce your air time as much as you can. Here's what it looks like against someone doing the exact same kickoff, but not flipping instantly after jumping. As you can see, it just gets you there way faster than your opponent. You can also use this at any point in the game just to travel around the field faster without using much boost. Just fast kickoff wherever you're going and you'll be recovering so much quicker. Last thing about kickoffs in general. You should still be using the same kickoff no matter what playlist you're in if you're just trying to beat your opponent. But in ones, boost management is way more important. So in ones, I suggest not using boost after your first flip. Typically, I like to use a little bit of boost as I'm flipping into the ball for a 50, but in ones, I just don't bother. If you stop boosting after your first flip, you're going to save about 12 boosts by the time the kickoff is finished. That may not seem like a lot, but you'd be surprised by how much it helps on recovering from losing a kickoff. Next up, let's talk about the kickoffs from straight center in the back. These kickoffs you only need to know for once, since in every other occasion, you or a teammate would be closer. To start off, there's two things I see a lot of people do wrong in this kickoff. The first one is pretty obvious. Some people just straight up drive at the ball and flip into it at the end. This is wrong because, like I said earlier, if you have room to flip, you should always use it. In this case, you have plenty of room. So similarly to the slight angle kickoff, you want to begin driving straight at the ball, but turn your car slightly to the side as you can see here. You'll want to turn it just enough so that when you corner flip and boost at the same time, it'll be directly at the ball. After that, straighten yourself back towards the ball, and after you land, front flip into it again. There is no better way to do this. I don't recommend front flipping on these because when you do, you can't use boost at the same time without boosting backwards. Also, don't forget to flip as close to the ground as you can and save a little boost at the end for a recovery. Here's what a couple bad kickoffs look like against a perfect one. Lastly, we've got diagonal kickoffs. Here, there are a lot of options that people consider viable. Depending on what playlist you're in, you may want to purposely lose the kickoff to direct it to a teammate that's behind you, but I'll cover that in a future video. If you're just trying to win the kickoff, you've really only got one main best option. First, what you shouldn't do. Some people I see just simply drive at the ball and then flip into it at the end. However, as I said before, if you have room for a flip, you should always use it. And in this situation, you do. So with that out of the way, the next mistake I see people make is when they try and wave dash. With this kickoff, it does get you going max speed by the time you get to the ball, but it does it later than we'd like. There's still better options. Also, for some reason, I sometimes see people do whatever this is. It's actually surprisingly a pretty common strategy. However, if your opponent knows what he's doing, you're going to lose this kickoff every single time. With this strategy, the angle you hit the ball at is not directly goal side of the ball. So if your opponent is goal side of the ball, he's going to beat you almost every single time. So yeah, definitely don't use that one. Now for what I do recommend. There's two different variations of this, one of which I recommend more. The first one is front flipping straight ahead, then turning your car and front flipping into it again. I used to use this kickoff, but then I found a way to do it a little faster. Like I said before, it's better to corner flip and boost at the same time than just front flip. So for this one, let's say on the left side, you should immediately turn your car slightly to the left, then corner flip to the right while boosting. Once you land, you should be relatively goal side of the ball. What's important on this one is the direction you flip relative to where you land. Wherever you land, whether it be too far or too short, you should make sure your next flip is directly through the center of the ball. If you don't do this, you could get completely destroyed by your opponent if they do. There is a similar strategy to this where you basically instead turn to the right slightly and then corner flip to the left, but I don't suggest it because when you do this, it's harder to turn your nose back towards the ball at the end. Here's what a few of those bad kickoffs I talked about look like against a perfect one. Alright, that's all I've got for this video. Hope this one helped you out a lot. I know there's a lot of you out there that don't have very strong kickoffs, so this video should help you out a bit. I really appreciate all the kind words and support on the recent videos. It really means so much to me. So if you have a friend or two that you think could find this video useful, or you really just like these videos, then I would really appreciate it if you share it. Other than that, I hope you have an awesome day and night, and I'll see you in the next one.